Hey, everybody, welcome to the next edition of The Great Franchisee. Of course, we're with another one, and today it's Chris. So, tell us your personal story, kind of frame it for us. What did you do before franchising, and why did you think that franchising made sense to you?
It's funny. I wasn't looking to own a business or even start a franchise. I had spent the last 8+ years as a stay-at-home mom. Prior to that, I worked in the live events industry as a general manager for a national video equipment rental company, and so I had done that primarily for the majority of my career, and decided to stay at home when my youngest was born. And so I had been doing that for the last 8 years, and thankfully was home during COVID. So I was able to get my kids through at home learning. But now that they're back to school, they don't really need me. And I was thinking about, well, what's the next step for me in my career? Started to look at, well, what do I want to do? Do I want to go back into, my old industry? Well, didn't really want to do that now that I have young kids, and sort of stumbled upon an article in a newspaper about some of the best franchises, and saw an article on TruBlue, and it really struck a chord with me in terms of what they specialize in or what they're focusing on in terms of helping seniors age in place. I have parents that are aging, and I look at their home and how it's not ideal for them at this stage in life, nor is it ideal for them moving forward. So I really thought that that was a really interesting, neat focus for companies. There are just so few companies out there that are actually focusing on helping seniors age in place in their home. And so that's sort of what got me interested in the company and learning a little bit more about them. So I reached out to them, and we were in talks for quite a while, going back and forth. And I started to learn a little bit more about them. And like I said, I wasn't interested in starting a business or getting into franchising, but it just sounded like such a great opportunity. And at this stage in my life, it seemed like something that sort of fit in perfect with my family and, what interests me at this point in my life.
Well, I think we can all relate to that. You come to this point where we have aging parents, we have kids at home. What fits, what doesn't fit? And it boils down to, how do you make it all work? How do you keep all the plates in the air? And
Sure.
so how has motherhood, do you think, prepared you to run your own business?
Well, I mean, it you can't predict anything when you're a mom, right? When your kid, you never know, are they gonna be homesick that day? Are they going to school? You have to manage all of their, like, sports and after-school curricular activities, their STEM and science projects we're in the middle of doing, so you just never know what to expect, and I think that that sort of is what being a business owner is all about. You never know really what to expect. You think, "Oh, well, I've got this all mapped out," and then something throws you a curveball. And so, I think once you become a parent, I think your priorities change a little bit. I used to work very long hours. I used to travel, long commutes. Didn't matter before I had kids. Well, now I can't spend 2 hours in a car commuting back and forth to work. I can't, be traveling all the time. I don't want to be. I want to be at home, but I also want to have a career and, doing something that makes me feel good and makes me feel like I have a purpose. And I think at this stage in my life, my kids are old enough that they don't need me all day long, but I can also work out of my home and be close to home so that when they do need me, I'm not too far, and I can sort of fit them into my work schedule, and they can help me out. My daughter's been practicing how to answer the phones. She wants to be a receptionist. She's 10, but she thinks she's going to be answering my phones.
Well, I remember those days, right, when we used to play office.
Mhm.
So she's getting real office experience.
Yes, she's
I
been
love that.
practicing very hard.
That's wonderful. It's great that you guys can just do it together, that you're home. So tell us a little bit about your passion for the elderly. You said that your parents are aging, you're watching them try to manage their own home. You think about people who don't have family members close by. What niche do you fill there?
Well, I think especially in Massachusetts alone, when you look at most of our homes, they're all multi-level homes. We have very few ranch style homes. And we have, a very large aging population. We get very severe weather with snow and ice. And your home can be, a dangerous place as you get older. And it should be your safe haven. And I think especially after COVID, we have seen a lot of people really want to stay home. They don't want to have to go into a facility as they age, especially if they're still able to care for themselves and they're healthy. And my parents are reaching that stage. My father has Alzheimer's, although he is able to be at home and care for himself with my mom. But I can see a future of, not being comfortable with them staying in the current home that they're in unless we can make a few adjustments or tweaks to it. And, there have been moments where my mom has had to try and find contractors to add grab bars into the bathroom. And it can be very, very difficult. There aren't a lot of contractors out there that want to do the small work because they're busy with large things like kitchens and bathrooms. And so, who do you contact when you just need something small like a grab bar, or maybe you need a ramp, or maybe you just need a a taller height toilet to sort of accommodate, your loved one. Again, there's just not a lot of people out there that want these small jobs because they're so busy, right? And so it's nice to be able to have a company that you can call that that that's what they specialize in and that's what they want. They want these small jobs and they'll call you right back and you can rely on them. And I think especially, one thing that intrigues me is just to be a resource for those in my community, who do you call? Like, oh, let's call TruBlue. They did this small little job. I'm sure they can do that as well. So I just think it's an important thing. We have such a large population of aging parents and aging people. And like you said, there are a lot of people that don't have family members close by. I'm really the only one my parents have. I have one sister, she lives in Florida. She tries to help, she pays for their snow removal, and that's a huge help for us, but there are a lot of people that don't have kids like me close by that can check in on their parents and, help them put an air conditioner in their window that, when they might need it in the warm, weather, and who do you call to do that? Well, TrueBlue can do that for you too. It's something
Right.
small, but who an older person can't do something like that, or even just moving furniture, out because you need to clean or have your carpet
Yes.
replaced. What do you do? Who do you call for that? There's just so many little small things that, seniors need help for. I've heard my mom say dozens of times, "Well, I'd like to do this, but I have nobody who can do that. Like, who do I call? Who do you call to do that?" Um, well, TrueBlue can do that, but, there's so few out there, and I just think there's a huge need, and it's not just for seniors too. I mean, there's a lot of busy families that also need a little bit of help here and there too, but I think, the focus on the seniors aging in place certainly is a huge thing for our community and just in general. Like I said, COVID, I think, has brought that on the forefront that, sometimes the safest place is your home, right? And perhaps a facility when you're not quite ready for one isn't the place to be, and your home should be your safe haven, but it might not be if you can't maneuver around your home safely.
Well, I love what you're saying, and I personally can relate so much to this, and I know a lot of us out there can. My dad recently went through a health crisis in New York, and I live in Missouri, and I needed TrueBlue. I needed TrueBlue to fix the door. Oops. My AirPod just fell out. I needed TrueBlue to fix the door of his house. I needed TrueBlue probably to um, make that toilet higher. All of these things that you're saying is a situation that I personally found myself in. And so I love what you're saying because it is such a need, especially with this growing baby boomer population that is just outstandingly large. So that's really neat.
Yeah, and if you're not close by to your parents, if you know somebody that you can rely on and you feel comfortable with, that gives you peace of mind too, knowing that your parents are taken care of and that they're safe. Because that's a hard thing when you're not close by and you can't just run over and check on them
Well, I
periodically.
will not admit to you that I hired the housekeeper.
You do what you
I
gotta
was like,
do.
"Do you mind running to Walmart for me halfway across the country? I'll Venmo you.
Exactly.
I need you to get, straps to put on the mattress pad to keep the mattress pad down, to keep the sheets down for him. Um, the carpets need cleaned up,
Yeah.
the windows need washed. So we need a TruBlue in Rochester, New York. I'll tell you that. We need to commission somebody.
Alright, someone write that down.
I know. Okay, so why did you pick this brand, and what excites you most about this company?
So like I said, I was searching, for what am I gonna do in my next chapter? Like I said, I wasn't planning on starting a business. I wasn't planning on purchasing a franchise, but in looking for, what I wanted to do in this next stage of my life, there just wasn't anything out there that struck me as something I really wanted to spend, all these if I'm going to spend so many hours away from my children, away from my family, out of the home, I wanna be doing something that I'm enjoying, that I feel is meaningful, and I feel that, people could really use, and so when I did some research on TrueBlue and I learned more about it and I started to talk to more people and other franchise owners, I really started to get excited, about the opportunity of bringing that to my community because, like I said before, that I really didn't feel like there was anybody else, at least in my area, that was focusing on seniors, but also, also focusing on just on little things for busy families, who may not have time to take care of their home, but everybody needs little things done here and there in their home.
So why the franchising model? What was your perception of franchising prior to becoming a franchisee?
Honestly, I had the only thing I had we all have heard of franchises. When you think of franchises, I always think of, McDonald's, right? I don't want to open a McDonald's. I don't know much about franchising, but as I started to learn about it and I started to realize how much support True Blue corporate will provide for me in terms of the marketing and advertising and just general support. I have, a business coach that sort of helps me along the way every week, and it just felt like, I was going to receive a lot of support and I wasn't sort of on an island by myself. I wasn't starting a business all on my own. I was starting my own business, but a business that was already established, a business that already had their model down and they already knew what to do. And they were going to teach me and guide me and be with me every step of the way. So like I said, I had never looked into franchising, but as I started to research it more and more, I realized that this could be an incredible opportunity for me and my family and the community. So it was something I wasn't expecting at all, but has been very exciting.
So I guess that's the question. What do you hope to achieve with your business, and what are your plans for growth?
Wow, I mean, everybody wants a successful business, right? But I want to be the go-to company in my community for when people need something, done to their home. If they need something small done, if they have aging parents that they want to make sure that they're taken care of, I want True Blue to be the first thought that people think of, "Hey, we've used them for this job. They were so great. Let's call them again." I want to be that go-to company in our community that people know and trust.
That makes sense. Your plans for growth? Are you thinking about expanding territories yet?
I am. I mean, I've had dreams about taking over, yes, the whole state and then New England, we've got but I'm just gonna focus right now on the North Shore of Massachusetts and go from there. Yeah, I mean, I've been thinking about, yearly growth, but I don't have any plans on, expanding the territory just yet, but that certainly, would be an exciting thing to think about for the future.
And what's one thing about your story that you would want us to know?
One thing about my story, well, I think, this is sort of my second, act, sort of. I had a really successful career. I always say the first, part of my life, my working world before children, and that, anyone can do this, right? I mean, we tend to sometimes get stuck in, the day-to-day grind of life, our careers, our families. I wasn't expecting to start a business, at my age, at the stage that I'm in right now in life, but why not? Why not now? Why not, start my own business? Why not be my own boss? Why not, bring a franchise that's so needed to the community? I guess my story or my takeaway would be to just not limit yourself. I could have gone back to my old career and been very successful, but I wanted to do something new. I wanted to try something new, and it's scary and it's exciting, to know that I have control over my own destiny, my own, financial destiny, my own, career goals. I can be as successful or not as successful as I put into it. And so that's exciting. And I think that people should remember that, you know, you take a step back and be a stay-at-home mom to take care of your kids, but that doesn't have to define you. That doesn't have to be who you are for the rest of your life. You can reinvent yourself. And I think it's exciting for my kids to see this side of me and starting a business. They know me as their mom. They don't remember before when I, managed a large office and a large team as the boss, as they like to say. But they just know me as their mom. So to see this side of me is exciting for them. It's exciting for me because they get to see, you know, the possibility of what I can do, and hopefully they will know too as they get older that, well, they mom did it, so can I.
That's so true. So, what advice do you have for other people, much like yourself? Maybe we've been staying home with our kids, they're getting older. The reality is, these kids are going to grow up. And I heard someone say once, you're going to have a life after the kids.
Right.
We don't think
You
that.
forget that sometimes, right? We get
We
so
do.
engrossed in our family and our kids, we forget, "Oh, we still have a long life ahead of us. What are we gonna
What are
do?"
we going to do? Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what advice do you have for people who are thinking about this?
Just do your research, talk to them, it doesn't hurt, I reached out to TruBlue and on a whim, and I really thought, "There's no way I'm gonna do this, there's just no way," but I'll reach out to them, I'll email them, I'll talk to them, and every week we would meet and we would discuss, and, every week I would learn something new and, "Oh, that's exciting, I didn't know about that." I just think that to not limit yourself and to do sometimes what's scary, and it's okay to be a little scared. That's a good thing. But to do your research and, to really dig deep and think about, what do I want? What do I really want out of a job? Do I want to just go and make money and, have a paycheck and go to work every day and, do the grind? Or do I want to do something that makes me happy and has purpose and makes me feel like I'm giving something back, or I'm doing something that's meaningful to yourself? That may be different for every person. Not everybody, would want to open a TruBlue franchise, but if it's not TruBlue, if it's something else, look into it, do some research and think, why not? Why not me?
Well, last question I have for you today is about the pandemic. Do
Mm.
you think that had the pandemic not happened, your path would have been different?
Absolutely. I mean, I think for many of us, the pandemic has changed all of us in so many ways. And I even think it's changed the way people think about their homes, and our homes for, gosh, over a year became our sanctuary. It became, the place that we needed to be, and we needed to feel safe. And I think that That's a big deal, and especially for our seniors, nursing homes weren't a safe place for them during COVID. Their homes were, and I think, that's a big deal, and I don't think there's any, I just think that, um, the pandemic has changed us all in some ways. I probably changed the way I job searched. It certainly changed the old industry that I came from, which was the live events industry, because people weren't traveling, people weren't having events. So a lot of these companies didn't, make it through the pandemic. But I just think it changed the way I looked at, my kids. My kids were home from school. I had to be a teacher for the very first time, and that's a really hard job. And Teacher Appreciation Week, I love all the teachers out there. Now that my kids are back to school, they're amazing. But yeah, I think it changed the way I looked at my future and how do I want to spend the rest of my life? Do I want to just spend it in a job? Do I want to just, have a long commute? No, I want to stay close to home. I want to control my own hours and where I'm working and what I'm doing and have some flexibility. If I need to pick up a sick kid at school, I can run over, grab the kid, and bring him back home, but and not be, an hour away. I just think, yeah, the pandemic has changed everything, and I think it's changed the way we all look at life and work and family. And that's not a bad thing. I think if we can take, a positive thing out of COVID and the pandemic is that, there were so many positives we can get out of it. The time we got to spend with our family, at least for me, was, invaluable. And I'm so glad that I was home during that and I wasn't working because I was able to manage my kids being at home and helping them through school. If I was, working an hour away and really busy, they would have been sitting at a computer all day by themselves. So I was grateful to be here. But now they don't need me. So now I'm ready to move on. And I'm so excited to start this next chapter.
We're excited for you in the journey. And so, best of luck. Thanks for being with us today.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.